Ladies and gentlemen, I have to sincerely apologize for last week. I tried to do it at the end of the show, but this little effer cut me off. So
Ain't nothing
frick
little
him.
about me.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
shit.
whatever, I got to do what I got to do. Sister getting married, I'm out of town, so Tim runs the show. Not much I can do about that. I don't have any other friends, so he's the only one.
Wait, your sister got married?
Oh, did I not tell you
Let's put
that?
out a big Bitcoin donations to me just to assuage my guilt. I need to order a lot more porn. We'll go with that.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today. Oh, hey, we got a real fun show planned. Hey, what better to do than just friggin' scroll through Twitter? I mean, why not? We
That's
got a
what you do
Bitcoin.
anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. We got a Bitcoin Twitter. That's where most of our content comes from and our conversations and whatever. So let's friggin' do it. So that's coming up. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with.
Tim Baker.
And I'm assuming Zach will be with us shortly. He said he'll be 6 minutes late, and then he said he'll be 5 minutes late. And I told him he better make it 4 minutes, or he's got another one coming. So I guess we'll find out about that. But before we get into our Twitter feed and our favorite content from Twitter, I am going to share the place to be tonight. This is you, me, and btc.com/live. This is where you can get everything you need. I say it every week, so I'll keep it quick. You got the video, you got the chat, you got some great show notes, you got some tweets that we're going to cover coming up here. You have some tweet buttons if you're not following us yet. It's at you, me, and BTC. And you got our poll at the bottom. I want to know, what's your favorite thing about Twitter? Is it A, jokes and memes? Is it B, news and information? Is it C, debates? Or is it something else, in which case you can reply and explain? Debates, honestly, debates are my least favorite part of Twitter. I don't know. I guess I scroll through them and read them now and then, but they kind of piss me off because nobody ever actually convinces anyone, and they just, you don't understand, okay? Economics is like really, really important, and that's just an ad hominem attack, so I'm right. That's what it seems like to me. But actually, it's probably would have to be shorter because it's got to fit in a tweet. So even worse than that.
You're a dick and a Nazi.
There you go. Tim's got that nailed down. Sounds like you've done that once or twice before. Okay. So yeah, this is the place to be. You, me, and btc.com/live. Jump in the chat, guys, too. That's going to be an important spot tonight. Let us know what you think of the tweets. Some of these tweets we're just going to quickly hit on and laugh at and whatever. But honestly, I think there's a few that are going to kick us off on discussions for 10, 20, 30 minutes or whatever. So that is all coming up momentarily. And I suppose I'll just dive right into it. I'll leave my screen share on. If anyone's listening to the podcast, I'll remind both parties that the other one exists. So if you're listening on the podcast, don't forget to check out YouTube. All the videos are on our website, you, me, and btc.com. And other way around, if you're watching the videos, there's actually some bonus audio and songs and different, it depends on the week or all kinds of stuff, but the podcast is a little bit different than the live stream. So you get a bonus too. And if you want to listen to both, you absolutely could and should. The podcast, if you want to get that, I guess the best place to go would be you, me, and btc.com. If you hit one of the subscribe buttons, that will take you to a page that has links like Spreaker and Stitcher and iTunes, and we're on Google Play and stuff now. Whatever. Anyway, all that, literally, whatever you want to find, it's all on the website, you, me, and btc.com. All right, here goes. We are starting on my Twitter feed. I figured, hey, first of all, we get to promote our Twitter. But I don't just promote our Twitter to be annoying. I promote it because it's just I retweet Bitcoin stuff that I like. And since you're our audience, presumably you would like some of it too. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. And obviously I send out links to our shows and stuff so you won't forget about them. So this first one here actually has a bit of a story behind it. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin, but I did get a Samsung Galaxy Note 8 this week. And one of the features is that you can just draw on your screen to make GIFs. I call them GIFs. I don't like peanut butter images, so I call them GIFs. But I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that one. Anyway, so I experimented with that. I had to compress the crap out of this, and my handwriting sucks. But hey, it's Twitter. Anything goes, right? Okay, here's our poll too, just recently. So, like I said, make sure you get in there. We got 2 votes right now, so we'll see where that goes. Yeah, so that's a link to our today's show that we're doing right now, a link to an old show. I have an automation thing that just throws out some old shows and articles every couple days. So there's that. And here is our first in-depth one. Here goes nothing. So this is from Vortex. Well, Vortex is quoting someone else. Holy crap. I feel like this is the smallest tweet I've scrolled past so far, but I feel like it's going to last us the longest because it's got a lot of stuff in it. I got to explain who Vortex is. Then we got to read the tweet that he quoted. And then who knows how long we'll talk about that. So first of all, Vortex, pretty cool guy. He's actually been on the show a couple times. We've been on his show several times. He does the Bitcoin News Show over at World Crypto Network on YouTube mostly, which we love. And he says this, arrow pointing down to a quoted tweet. And this is from Crypto Ja. I have no idea who Crypto Ja is, J-A-H. But this is what he says, quote, frankly, many aren't interested in getting rich to be rich. They want to get rich to make everyone else rich too by empowering the world. Shoot. I feel like that's something you're just going to beat to death, Tim, in disagreement.
No.
Do people get rich because they want to be rich or because they want to make other people rich?
Well, in Bitcoin is very much different because in Bitcoin we are all have had all of our natural tendencies towards greed and competition in general. So yeah, no, the entire point of making money in Bitcoin is to bring up your fellow man, because that no, I wouldn't agree. You can kind of make the argument because you can say that Bitcoin, as you make Bitcoin get bigger, it'll help the third world or something. Also, it's up in the air as to what exactly he's talking about make the rest of us rich, because the rest of whoever's probably looking at this tweet on their phone is already rich by anyone's standards 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago. Quit typing, Daniel. But yeah, I don't really get that. I don't think that that's the main reason. I see that more as, especially on Twitter and any kind of these social medias, and this is going to come up a lot because that's all we're doing today. So much of it is just like, I'm a good person. Let me show you this in words. Now, again, maybe Crypto Ja does do something outside. We don't know him, and we are not that kind of invested journalism that we do not check our facts or our sources. I'm sorry, not our facts. So Crypto Ja might be a great person. He might also be just some dude who tweets about Bitcoin and donated to something once, like I did, and then it made me feel good, and it has kept me feeling okay with myself for the past like 4 years. Yeah,
so
I don't know. It's not something I would retweet. I understand, like, to get followers, it completely makes sense.
Whoa. That's something I was just saying in the chat. I had to prelude quite a bit of this stuff about Twitter and who we follow and get past some of the early tweets real quick. So I already talked for a long time, but that's another thing that should have been in the prelude. When I'm scrolling through Twitter on the can, most of the stuff I retweet has some level of like trolling in it, which I've actually said on Twitter before. Like, I'm in a troll mood today, so I'm just going to retweet everything about Bitcoin Cash, whether I like it or not. So that's a good point, Tim. You know, you say you probably wouldn't retweet it, but just, you know, a lot of people put this in their Twitter, you know, bio. They'll say like, oh, just because I retweet it doesn't mean I agree. And I hate it when people do that, because obviously that's true. Why would anyone agree with everything that they share with other people? They share it because it could be funny, it could be wrong, it could be hilarious. it could be, misspelled. Literally, they could share it for any reason. So it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Anyway, so yeah, I got to add some more prelude there. A lot of this I just do because I think it's hilarious or whatever. But anyway, did you have more, or should I?
No, I kind of like. I'm gonna jump to the chat real quick, but I don't know if this
Okay.
is if he's necessarily a commie. But Mr. Hayes says egalitarian commies are annoying, and yeah, I get that because it's great to talk about it. It's so easy to fucking talk about this stuff till it actually happens because normally that's not like. I do believe that as certain people make more money, the rest of the world does become more enriched, but it's not at any kind of a fast enough rate for the normal person to notice. Most people just go, I'm only making $10 an hour and I can still support myself, but I want more because the minimum wage should be more and I deserve more. But even though I have all this shit that no one ever even imagined, I'll pick my dates a little bit better. I said 10 years ago, 100 years ago. No one would even imagine living this well unless you were literally the top person in the world. Yeah, exactly. Today's poor man lives better than kings in the 18th century. Life sucked back then. So yeah, it does make everything else better and it does enrich us, but it's not enriching to where anybody ever goes on Twitter and says, this is great. You have like everybody loves the Louis C.K. bit because like, oh, I never even thought about it. Because he's like, why does everyone fucking complain about the phones? It fucking goes up here, goes to the satellite, comes back. What? It takes 2 minutes. So what the fuck? It doesn't matter. And that's like it's like mind blowing. I mean, it is because you don't normally think about it. Most of the time, it's just your initial reaction is just, I hate this blank. And I actually saw a tweet exactly like this the other day. Like, I hate this. Insert random, not at all, not related part of life that's annoying. That fuck capitalism. And it's like, what? That doesn't. I don't understand right now. So yeah, it ends up being, like I said, it's this quest to make yourself feel good, which I can't really say is any worse than like what you're talking about with trolling. It's just they want to feel good by making other people feel good, which I hate.
Yeah, here's the thing. I know you. I know to some extent you might disagree with this, or you might disagree with the motives behind this. But part of the reason I retweeted this is not just to joke about it, but I do somewhat agree with it.
Hey.
Because yo.
Sorry, I'm late. Traffic was terrible.
Oh yeah, so much for 6 minutes late. It's what?
Why did you tweet about it
now? Yeah, I don't believe you unless it's on Twitter. So this is Zach Vold. Thanks for joining us. And I briefly mentioned to him before we started that we're just going through Twitter, but just
dude, Twitter is mad these days with Bitcoin, Bcash, Ethereum, all these Eric Voorhees, what's his name, Buterin, just like everybody's going nuts. It's insane.
Oh yeah, it's a great time. That's
actually
Twitter.
Well, fun fact, today I discovered Buterin has no, maybe you guys already knew this, maybe I'm just a dumbass, but Buterin has no programming background at all. He was a journalist and posted on Reddit with his idea for Ethereum, and then other people developed it. It's insane.
I did not actually know that, but one of my I would have said Buterin. I guess I could be wrong. I don't know, but one of my favorite Twitter accounts was Lil Buterin, which was like the rapper Buterin or something. And apparently, I don't know if this was true, but a guy named Stephen McKee from Purse.io claimed to be the one running the Lil Buterin Twitter account. It was kind of funny. If I remember in a bit, I'll pull it up and see if there's any good stuff. But so the tweet we're on right now, Zach, okay. I turned off my screen share so you're not staring at the same words for too long, because this is my beautiful face. The tweet we're on is, well, I'll just read it one more time in the quotey quotes. Frankly, many aren't interested in getting rich to be rich. They want to get rich to make everyone else rich too, by empowering the world. So the argument here from Crypto Jaw is that people don't just care about money, the only reason they want to get rich, or a lot of people anyway, the only reason they want to get rich is to make the world a better place and to make everyone rich. And Tim, I know Tim, cynical, whatever, says, screw that, everyone's greedy. Okay. I have a lot more sympathy for this tweet because, I don't know, because I've seen some of it before. I've seen generous people in the Bitcoin space and out of the Bitcoin space. I know that everyone's greedy. I know that everyone just wants to be rich or just wants to feel good. I know that if you give away money, it's probably just because it makes you feel better. But I don't think that makes this tweet necessarily wrong. That's still part of us. That's still what we're trying to do. And, we all know that if we were filthy rich, what are we going to do? Buy 12 helicopters? Like, how about I just give a bunch of it away and make the world a little bit better? We all know that we can and should and would do that to some extent. I mean, we're still going to be filthy greedy and do some pretty lavish stuff and waste a lot of money. But I think a lot of people that end up with a lot, I've seen it. I don't mean to, praise myself here, but I've been more willing to just like, you're building Bitcoin nodes out of Raspberry Pis. Here's $160 for one. Or, you're raising money to free Ross. Yeah, I'll here you go. Oh, you're making music on Kickstarter. Yeah, give me one of those $60 hoodies. I'll take one of those. Whatever, when you got a little bit, especially if you accept Bitcoin, I got tons of that. Here you go. I don't mean to like praise myself. I'm just saying like it happens and it does feel good. And people do want to make the world better. That's my position. You going to tear me apart, Tim, or what?
Yeah, no, Daniel's that kind of Kickstarter, uppity, kind of yuppie, like, I'm a young man, but I also still enjoy pictures of dragons, so give me stuff.
No, I agree with Daniel. I agree with Dan. Like, people, so filthy rich people obviously do crazy things that other people might think are wasteful, but like all of us feel the need to, maybe it's just something like biologically or like naturally like instinctual within us. We want to make the world a better place, and if we have the means to do so, then we'll do it. So
I'm gonna catch up on the chat before I get too far behind. Thanks for joining us in the chat, Mr. Hires and James Bond. If anyone else wants to jump in, that's you, me, and btc.com/live. First of all, they were complaining about, where's Tim? Because I was talking for too long. Well, sorry, I don't, screw Tim. But so James Bond jokes #yes2x, which is a play on the tweet there because Vortex has #no2x in his Twitter handle, which is another reason that I knew we were going to end up talking about this tweet for a long time. Because, sure, let's throw out some opinions on 2x. If you don't know, the idea is that the New York agreement, several months back, everyone agreed that, first of all, we would adopt SegWit, and then whatever, like 3 months later, we would double the block size. So we would adopt SegWit and accept a small block size increase. Because that was the argument, is which one should it be? And they compromised to have a little bit of both. And a lot of people like Vortex and people in his circles and my circles. And we had this discussion a few weeks back, and we were asking the question, like, will the 2x go through or will it fork? In fact, I had a poll on Twitter somewhere. Maybe we'll get to it. But yeah, so he says, screw that. I don't care about 2 megabyte blocks. I don't care what the New York agreement said. I don't care who signed it. Screw that. So I'll toss it out there to you guys. What do you think? Are you #no2x or #yes2x? Any thoughts on that stuff? Do you want big blocks or 1 megabyte blocks forever?
I'm #no2x all the way.
like actually, like you don't think, you don't want it, you don't need it, you're not supporting it, or what?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I follow all the wrong people on Twitter. I try and follow like a diverse community of people who are against it, for it, and then there's just these couple of people who have hashtag maybe 2x on their account.
That's pretty good.
But I like clearly it's like a pretty polarizing thing. I don't know. Some of the arguments that I've heard are that sure, bigger block sizes aren't necessarily a bad thing, but they might not be. Well, two things, I guess. One, 2x with all the China thing and with Bitcoin Cash being so recent and with the recent plummet that we had from like almost 5,000 to just below 3,000, like maybe the timing isn't great for this additional fork right now while people are calling it a bubble and there's all this banning going on, or like pseudo banning going on in China. The timing maybe necessarily isn't great. And then the other line of argument is that, like the most common that I've seen, is that bigger block sizes, sure, aren't maybe necessarily a bad thing, but there are other solutions to fixing what we all could maybe agree are problems with Bitcoin that bigger blocks don't like directly address. Like, sure, there are maybe issues that we should all work on fixing, and like the core devs and other developers and things like that. But bigger blocks are sort of like, sure, maybe that's nice, but let's focus on other things right now. I don't, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's so many variables and factors, and it's friggin' hard to tell. I did end up finding this poll that we ran, and same idea. It's like it's almost dead even. The question was, this was from August 10th. The question was, will SegWit 2x go through? Option 1 is yes, completely. Option 2 is yes, but with a chain split, just like with Bcash, where it's split into 2 Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Or option 3 is never. And the percentages were 23% said yes, 2x will go through. 38% said there will be a chain split, and 39% said 2x will never go through. So it's like dead even. You know, like who freaking knows? No freaking idea. I don't know. So, yeah. So that's
wait. Sorry, you do support 2x? Maybe I zoned out. You do support 2x? Oh.
No, I would say, yeah. James Bond is in the chat. Dan supports 2x. Zach supports 2x. Tim supports #yes 2x.
No.
No, yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't participate in it. I mean, well, no, that's not to say I never would. If it really did, if 90% of people did support it and it became the Bitcoin with the most hashing power and the Bitcoin that everyone, you know, all the companies and wallets and exchanges were defaulting to, okay, at that point, whatever, 2x, it's fine.
True.
But personally, you know, if there's some sort of mining competition or if there is a chain split, I'm not going to bother with 2x unless it happens to take over. I'm not going to like boot up a 2x node or anything. I'm not going to go run around supporting it. No, I don't really care about bigger blocks. I don't really care about the New York agreement. I'm happy with 1 megabyte blocks. I'm happy paying fees if I have to for Bitcoin. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
No, that's actually a good point. And a lot of people have been mocking a lot of the no 2x people have been mocking the New York agreement. I think if I have that straight, because they're like, it doesn't matter what you sign on a piece of paper. Like, that's the nature of Bitcoin. What we decide, like through consensus, is what will actually happen. Right. But so long as like, I mean, with Bitcoin Cash, for example, a lot of people did not want that to happen, but now like Bitcoin Classic is more valuable than ever, and Bitcoin Cash is just another chain split that has not instantly died off. Like, overall, I'd say on the whole, we're better off maybe because of it. And people might hate that I say that, but I think it's true. And so if you want 2x and it won't, like, which I don't necessarily think it will, if there's 2x with a chain split, it doesn't devastate the Bitcoin core chain. Like, sure, that's the point. Like, you can do what you want, and maybe it will die off and just be worthless. Maybe it won't. Like, who knows? Like, maybe that's the classic YMB answer. But like, I don't know. Like, just sort of do what you want. But yeah.
Yep. Good answer. Good freaking answer.
Wait, can I share a tweet really quick that I pulled up?
Freaking do it. Freaking do it. Flip on that screen share if you got it. Let us know what you're looking at.
So it's from whoops, that's not what I wanted. There was a Bitcoin conference recently that this came from, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but it's from, which if you don't follow, you should, Bitcoin Art Gallery, and it's Roger Ver, who's a very polarizing figure lately, especially since Bitcoin Cash. A lot of people that maybe I follow the wrong people on Twitter, but a lot of people I follow hate Roger Ver, also known as I personally, I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy. He just likes Bitcoin Cash a lot. So he's following, maybe you can't see this very well, but freesociety.com, he's actually buying sovereign land from a government to create his own libertarian country, cryptocurrency-based libertarian country. You can follow it on Twitter at freesociety.com, and then if you go to the Bitcoin Art Gallery, this particular tweet is like the third or fourth most recent tweet on their account, and the YouTube video goes directly to his part of the speech from the conference. But yeah, so like there's in the U.S., like obviously all three of us are in the U.S. right now. New Hampshire is like the Free State Project. They're trying to fill the population with libertarian-minded people and sort of overpopulate the state to the point where we dictate the legislature and all that sort of thing. But he's actually just, I can't remember the country he's buying this land from, but he's buying land, and I guess maybe he'll elect himself to be benevolent dictator or something. I don't know. But yeah, kind of cool. So check it out. Bitcoin Art Gallery tweet. I'm sure Roger Ver's tweeted about it. I actually haven't looked. Or at Society.com, and then the YouTube link here links directly to his comments about it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, it's hard to know how any of that's going to end up. You know, it's hard to know if they're really going to be free and peaceful, or if over time, you know, power will get a hold of them or whatever. Who knows? But yeah, hey, it's a great idea. You know, try to be free. Not going to oppose that. So
I'll at least maybe if they build an airport, pop by for a visit and buy a beer or something on Roger Ver Island or Roger Veristan or something, whatever he calls it.
Yeah, the other one I've heard of is Liechtenstein. I think it's somewhere in Europe. And it's supposed to be the same idea. It's you know a couple hundred square miles, not very big, but hey, you know, people are trying to live there freely and not force people to do stuff. So that's great idea. Yeah, Bitcoin Art Gallery. We're some of his biggest fans. I love everything he puts out there. We've been working with him for years, honestly. Show a bit. He's worked with John some, obviously, with the Bitcoin and the Arts podcast. So anyway, screw John. Rest in peace.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Can I take a poll of you and Tim real quick on something else that has been going around on Twitter for forever, and jump in the chat too with your answer. So I'm sure we're all, or at least mostly all, familiar with John McAfee's bet about Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just wondering how realistic.
If it doesn't hit something like 250 grand within 3 years.
Yeah, like it has to hit 500,000 by 2020 or something, or else he'll just go check out his Twitter if you don't know. So, do you think it will actually happen? Like, which of the two outcomes do you think is more likely?
Within 3 years, or even if let's give him the benefit of the doubt, you know, give him 5 years, 10 years. Given Bitcoin,
that's 100 times what the highest it's been.
So, okay, Bitcoin's history in the past, well, since its inception, before that's what I'm trying to figure out, is if it's done it before. And I guess the answer is yes. I mean, the fact is, a decade ago, Bitcoin didn't even exist. But just to be conservative, let's just say that a decade ago, it was worth $1, which isn't even true because it didn't even exist. But just to be conservative and just, you know, to make the math easy and whatever, let's just say that a decade ago it was worth $1. That means that it's gone up 4,000x in a decade. Okay, so that means in another decade, it doesn't mean that, but it means possibly that in another decade we would end up with 4,000 times 4,000, which would give us, oh shoot, That's 16 million.
Oh,
Now,
jeez.
I mean, obviously, just like any investment, it's gonna hockey stick at the beginning, and it's not always gonna do that, presumably. But that's the thing. You never know. So
Yeah.
you never know. Yeah, and also the other thing is he didn't give it a decade. He gave it, whatever, 3 years, 5 years, something like that, which makes it even tougher. Because 3 years ago, we might have been at, worst case scenario, like $200, $100.
Mm.
So, if we're looking at that time frame, he could be totally off. So, because let's say that 3 years ago we were at $100, and let's say that we're at 4,000 right now. That means it went up 40x. Is that math right? Yeah, it means it multiplied by 40 over the course of 3 years. Now, again, that's being conservative because it wasn't. I don't believe it was really as low as $100 3 years ago. And I don't believe it's actually not quite at 4,000 right now. But just to be conservative, we'll say it was. So 4,000, and if we assume it went up 40x, that means you take off 2 zeros off of that. Okay, so that puts us at 160,000. I know I'm throwing a bunch of numbers out there, but hopefully it's making some sense. So, maybe that's right then. If we've gone up 40x over the past 3 years, another 40x would put us at 160,000. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's pretty close, but even that's not quite what he said. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, I'd love it if it went that high, but who knows? I'd feel bad for him if he lost.
Tim, what do you think?
I think everything's stupid.
This is why Tim's here.
Yeah, exactly. I just bring lightheartedness, and it's just fun, and it's great. I'm sorry. What did you last say, Zach?
Do you think
we're
Bitcoin
wondering if
will
you
go
think
to $500,000 by 2020, or will
cool.
John McAfee ruin himself?
Okay. Well, I mean, he's definitely going to ruin himself. He's definitely going to get caught doing something weird, or I could definitely see him being one of the guys who like kills himself because they're jerking off with while they're choking themselves. More power. I'm not saying it's bad. More power to him if he goes out that way because he seems like the guy who would be into that. I don't know stocks. I don't know how to read charts, but then, and again, this is the same thing with you, Zach, because I don't know if I'm following people who actually know what they're talking about, but everyone's like, it's a bull market. It's going up. So I can definitely see it kind of just running away with itself. And we've always talked about how before, especially because there's inflation, it could just go up and then still not be worth actually like $500,000 today, but whatever amount it could be worth that then. So yeah, I'm not against that. I will. Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Going all the way back. No,
yes.
Classic.
Yeah, no, I can say with full certainty that he will ruin himself by then.
All right, a couple things here from the chat. First of all, James Bond says core dev support #yes2x, which I believe is not even remotely true. I believe they're all against 2x.
Yeah, I think Mr. Heiser and James Bond have the opposite.
Yeah, Mr. Ayers says Roger Ver supports #no2x. McAfee is a 2xer. Then James Bond says hockey stick supports #yes2x. But here's a good one. We got Jesse Harder in the chat. I don't know who the frick that is. I don't know. He's got a portal cake though.
Hell yeah.
I believe. The cake from the video game Portal. That's a good old classic if you've never played it. He says, I don't see it getting that high, honestly, but hell, you never know. So, yeah, I don't know. Hell, you never know. He's a good YMB fan. But hey, check out Portal. It's literally, I just realized that I didn't give it enough credit, 30 seconds ago when I was talking about it. I should have been more enthusiastic about that. It's literally my favorite video game of all time. I think it's one of the most unique video games in existence. And there's Portal 1 and Portal 2, and they have cake, so check it out. James is asking if anyone bought today. I happened to wake up in the middle of the night, and I saw that it was $3,200. That was not today. This was like a week ago. But I was thinking, like, by the time I woke up in the morning, it was back up to like 3,800. I was like, shoot, good thing I woke up. Got to buy some at 3,200.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy any today. Not that I know of anyway. So, okay. Hey guys, remember way back at the beginning of the episode when I said this tweet will probably take us a while?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We're finally moving on from this tweet because we had to talk about who Vortex was. Oh, also somebody in the chat said Vortex is a teddy bear, which is not very wrong. So it's kind of true. And then we had to talk about hashtag no2x, and then we had to talk about crypto jaw and whether people get rich to get rich or if they get rich to make the world rich, and talk about the philosophy of good versus evil and all that stuff. But hey,
Dan,
we're finally ready. What up?
Do you follow Pierre Richard on Twitter? He's also pretty vocal about hashtag no2x. I'm just curious. He's one of the guys I follow.
I don't believe I do.
Okay. He's yeah, him. He's like a New York City developer. Yeah, there it is.
I do now.
Okay. Yeah, he's a good guy. Nakamoto Institute. He publishes a bunch of stuff on there.
All right. Well, I'll see what he's got for us over the coming days, and if anything's good, I'll retweet it, and you can see that at you, me, and VTC. Make sure you're all following us, by the way. But yeah, getting on to this next tweet here. This is from Bitcoin Ratio, and this is actually a Twitter account and a site that I run. So I figured I'd give it a shot. It's super simple right now, not much going on, but it is really a chart that shows BCH per BTC and the Bitcoin price in dollars and the Bitcoin Cash price in dollars. Now, here's the reason that I wanted to do that. Especially at the beginning of August, while Bitcoin Cash was becoming a thing, Bitcoin was also taking off, right? I mean, because before the split, Bitcoin was worth like $2,800, and then it crossed 3K, and now it's up towards 4K or over 4K, whatever. And so the reason I wanted a site like this was to keep track of like, oh yeah, Bitcoin Cash is rallying, but hey, so is Bitcoin at the same time. And so the only way that you can keep track of which one is actually doing better is to look at the ratio of Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash. And that's the only way you're going to find a good time to sell your Bitcoin Cash if you're selling it for Bitcoin. If you were planning on selling your Bitcoin Cash for dollars, well, then it's a little easier. You can just look at the dollar's price and be done with it. But I have no interest in selling my Bitcoin Cash for dollars. I want to sell it for Bitcoin. And the only way to keep track of a good time to sell it for Bitcoin is to look at the Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash ratio. This is why that whole branding thing was such a big issue, because I said Bitcoin like 40 times in my last 15 sentences. Anyway, so this site exists. You can flip over to weekly prices or monthly prices. And if you're looking for a time to sell your Bitcoin Cash for Bitcoin, then what you're really looking for is a low ratio, at least this ratio, because the lower this ratio is, the more Bitcoin you're going to get when you sell a Bitcoin Cash. So again, branding sucks, and I don't know if that sentence made much sense, but the point is you're looking for a low ratio here if you're trying to sell your Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash. Anyway, the site's here. I love it. I'm still working on it, so let me know if you have any features that need to be added. Okay, moving on. Another tweet from @LegendOfCrypto. this is a meme with some really sad middle-aged woman.
How
Who
dare
says,
you think that she's middle-aged,
You're-
Daniel? She's a
you're
very
right, you're right.
young.
Did you just
She's
assume my
57 years
age?
young.
She says, my husband is rich in Bitcoins, but if he dies, I won't understand how to spend them. Which is probably, it's probably actually a real problem for some couples.
Well, I was gonna say I saw this on Twitter the other day, or maybe yesterday. I forget. Time's a blur. But this is actually kind of morbid because the first person who started, maybe y'all know the story. The first person who started transacting or developing the original Bitcoin software with Satoshi Nakamoto since died of Lou Gehrig's disease and is what's the word? Pyrogenically frozen in Utah, and his frozen
cryogenic.
Cryogenic,
Fire doesn't freeze people.
Thanks.
Burned him
And
like he
his
wouldn't.
cryogenic frozenness is being funded through I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember. But he basically, before he died, he was like, I hope these Bitcoins mean something to my kids or my family. I don't know if they know how to use them, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, so that might be his family. I'm not sure, but that's really morbid.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's true.
Healthy in the chat.
Okay, so how Finney. But it's true. Like, it's got to be a problem for some people. I mean, if I died today, a lot of my Bitcoins would just be lost. They're on whatever different wallets and people wouldn't know how to get to them. Wouldn't know what do these 12 words mean on this piece of paper? I don't know. So yeah, it's a real problem because the point is with a bank account, just like sign a piece of paper. Yep, I'm his wife. Now that's my money, and you're good to go. But with Bitcoin, not so much. So it's got to be a real problem for some people. I hope I don't die today.
Well, if say I was married and my wife knew how to spend my Bitcoins, which is something maybe some sort of wallet will build out in the future. But just like Facebook has the feature where you can prepare your social media accounts in case you die for someone else to have access to, there should definitely be some sort of wallet feature that allows you to do the same thing so your Bitcoins aren't lost forever. But if you do die, you can like pre-select some sort of wallet for them to be transferred to or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be tough, but maybe possible. I mean, you could write it. You might not want to publicize this because someone could fake it. But what you could do is write a script that scans Google and obituary websites to determine if you die. And if you do, it either sends the Bitcoin to your wife or to a place like Free Ross. Like, rather than lose them, you might as well send them to Free Ross. So, you wouldn't want to publicize that too much because then someone might try to fake your death on an obituary site just to get those coins to go somewhere and steal them or whatever. But yeah, sure, you could give it a shot. Worst case, even if someone did fake it, if you sufficiently secured the software that was running all this, at least it would still go to Free Ross and not to the hacker, hopefully. But it's a what?
Hello, have you taught your fiance about how to spend your Bitcoin?
No. Nah.
No. No.
Yeah, I should. Definitely should. So, yeah, I'll put it on the list. Get it figured out.
Sorry, babe, we can't get married. I know I had to talk to your father, but I got to show you this shit on the computer. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I've always wondered that, like, regardless of Bitcoin and the security around that, even with a bank account, a centralized bank account or like a Facebook account or something, I've always wondered about the process that you would have to go through if someone died. But, I guess it's happened before and they have policies in place and stuff. But
Tim and I will find out when we take you out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, she got the money.
So here's the next tweet I got. This is not, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but the idea is, we were just talking about it a little earlier in the show here. The idea is that Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan might be in trouble because what he did was basically say bad stuff about Bitcoin, crash the price, and then actually JP Morgan bought Bitcoin after that happened. Now, people were saying that they didn't buy it for investment purposes. They bought it for their clients. But anyway, you know, I don't want to get into all this. I have no idea who says what. He says, she says, whatever. But yeah, whatever. It's funny. It's interesting. Maybe he did crash the price just to buy it. I don't know, but whatever. So, and what was it, you, Zach, saying he might have to go to court or something?
Oh, did I say that? I don't remember, but I did. I saw a couple news articles floating around that someone had filed like fraud charges from him. But the funny thing is, like, and there's just a dozen of these tweets floating around Twitter, but companies, I mean, who bash Bitcoin are like simultaneously developing their own blockchains at this present moment. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Like, maybe you have something against Bitcoin, or like the people who, like, these anarcho-capitalist nerds who think like Bitcoin is the panacea for every problem in the world. Like, okay, maybe they're like 100% of what they say isn't necessarily realistic, but you're doing basically the same thing. Like, obviously a closed blockchain for your own purposes. Just like, give it a break, man.
Yeah, it's true. They can be pretty crazy sometimes. The next tweet here is another throwback, an old post. This is from Bitcoin in the Arts, which is John's old podcast. Rest in peace, John. Screw you. But yeah, you know, titled. I think it's still a thing. It's like a supposed competitor to Spotify and Pandora. But who in their right freaking mind would be like, oh, I'm on Tidal. What are you on? I don't know anyone who would be on Tidal instead of Spotify. But whatever. Anyway, an old episode about that. Here's a good one. Jeffrey Tucker. He's been on the show a few times. One of my favorites. If you're not following him, you should be. But he says there's no such thing as an alt-right libertarian.
There's left-leaning libertarians too. That's fine. Let's just have a bunch of libertarian pacifism, and let's talk with strange British accents that are slightly southern.
Yeah, okay.
No, he's actually better. This is completely an aside, but I think at least, like, what he's tweeting now, for a little bit there, he was just so entrenched with all the fucking people up in that Keene stuff, which got like super lefty libertarian, and like, you're not supposed to use
Keene?
The Keene, like in New Hampshire.
It got lefty?
It still is it's very left leaning, where it's policing, like they try to police like speech and shit like that, where it's
wait, you're talking about people like Ian Freeman and Mark Edge?
No, I mean, Ian's definitely always been a little bit more left leaning. Like
left in a bad, like, what do you mean left?
No, I'm not meaning necessarily a bad way. I disagree with it just because it's annoying to me. But again, it's this whole thing of, we're going to make each other rich by making it. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. But it's more of a leftist kind of like a social. It's a very, very soft form of it's socialism, but they want it like as a voluntary thing.
You lost me there. Since how the frick does
this
Ian
is your
Freeman
problem? Is you listen to these
socialism?
podcasts all the time, and you get so ingrained to this, because
you're telling me Ian Freeman's a socialist. You want me to agree with you?
I mean, he probably is. He probably. And I could argue that he's a socialist. What?
We're calling him right now. All right. No, I have my. Oh no, my time is right. They got it. They're in the middle of their last segment. Keep talking, Tim. I'm gonna get this call set up. So why do you think he's? Why do you think he's? whatever, lefty.
I mean, mostly because it's like the people they have on the show. I haven't really like listened to it for a while since, and like till I was out there. But most like the people on the show, it's a little bit more of a. It's definitely like a left. It's a leaning libertarian. Like it's very much about social issues versus and focusing on like an economics type thing, or a. Yeah, I
Keep
don't know.
talking,
Like,
Tim.
But what am I supposed to talk about? I'm just going
Whatever.
like the people that they generally
on
seem
hold.
to associate with up there is, and I mean, that is like we're all going to come and live together, and we're going to affect drug change. We're just going to kind of smoke in a. It's more hippie-ish, I guess would be better. No, that's still leftish, but it's more kind of like hippie-ish, where we're gonna smoke pot in an open area to.
Okay, hey Daryl, how's it going? So I run a podcast that is on LRN, and we are actually streaming it live on YouTube as we speak. But I have them muted, so they're not going to interrupt us.
Oh, good.
But I know you're about to wrap up. One of my co-hosts, all of a sudden, he kind of caught me off guard. He started telling me that I don't know. Is Ian? No, he's off on Thursday nights, isn't he? He can't answer this, but we'll see what we get out of you. We have one of my co-hosts is claiming that Ian leans pretty hard left and might even be a socialist, and it caught me totally off guard. So
we can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him at all, Daniel. This is wait, guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't want to take up too much time. We got to finish up our show, and I don't even have our audio set up to stream back and forth. They can't hear you either. I just wanted to get in a call because I was shocked, and I knew you had 10 minutes left while you were live, so I was like, screw it, Tim. We're going to call him right now and see what they think. So it's right. It streams presumably once a week. They just have a podcast loop, but it's called You, Me, and BTC, and yeah, it's on LRN. So all right, he cut us off. So yeah, I didn't have time to sort out my audio there. I wish I did, but
Best segment of the week. That was great. I loved it. I loved it.
Wait,
I loved it.
Wait, give us a recap of what he said.
No, they didn't really say too much because, like I said, it was quick. It was like a 2-minute call there, but they just lauged like a lot. They're like, "What? I've heard that before. Ian is a socialist. What are you talking about?"
What did you expect him to say?
I know. No, you're right. If I had my audio set up right, we could have had a back and forth. Like,
no,
why
I
do
understand.
you?
I'm good. Let's keep on doing this because it gets us like extra advertising too. Like I'll call the motherfucker communist if it gets us like more people to watch the show. I don't care. You heard it here. Ian Freeman is a Maoist and a very strict Leninist. No, I mean, again, like I don't actually have any idea what he believes anymore. I think he's more about, for what I remember, is he into like self-sufficiency or something like that?
He wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think he like has his own garden or anything, but I'm sure he supports stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's just kind of where I see most of the libertarian chunk, like movement, as that's kind of just where they've been for the last couple years, where it's more about weed, or it's more about
what do you have against
like
weed?
kind of what weed? Wait, fucking oh, fuck you. No, but like it's more about making like that legal versus like affecting an actual change against war, I guess. And you can say that like it's easier to get weed legalized than actually stopping a war, but like their issue is less about, it seems in the way that it's more presented, is more about like weed or about social issues versus just like, well, let's just get them to stop taxing us and the rest of this shit goes away, or let's get them to stop just taxing us so that they keep on having wars and so it all goes away. I think it's gone away. You have like people like Kathy Risen, which isn't up there, but there is like there's a lot of people nowadays in the libertarian who all they do is just tweet about how Trump is annoying them, who didn't really do it with Obama, but they would occasionally.
Are you saying Trump doesn't annoy you? Why are you hating on people that are annoyed by Trump?
Because I didn't tweet about Obama either. I didn't complain about
Actually,
this.
That's fair.
I just don't complain about any of this bullshit because it doesn't matter. But again, it goes back to this whole thing in social media where it's this, oh, I don't like Trump. That means I'm a good person. Yeah, fucking Stephen King. Like, Trump is worse than anything I've written. He writes about literally the world ending because clowns come and just kill people and all this bullshit. And then you tweet this stupid stuff to make yourself look good. And that's all this is. Yeah, Trump's a fucking idiot and a fucking asshole. But you don't, again, that's fine. Make yourself look better on the internet. I can't actually come up with a reason for it besides that it just annoys me. There's nothing else besides that. But I just like to pick at things. I go, you're not a good person because I'm not a good person. And I'm bothered about it deep down inside.
+1 at all of that.
Well, I get your point about like, well, I never tweeted about how much I hate Obama. So why should we tweet about how much we hate Trump? But the only flaw I see there is that they not in general. A lot of people did tweet about how much they hate Obama, and they're still tweeting about how much they hate Trump. Fair, like yeah, if they're making a point about how obnoxious presidents are, nothing wrong with that.
It is. They
right?
complain about Obama and how like he would do bad stuff, but they have this thing, and I see it because it, at least in my opinion, it's because it was whipped up so much by the media, and they know that if they tweet this, they can get a bunch of retweets from people that aren't necessarily libertarians. But it's this, I don't even understand how we did this. It was like Obama, it was like, no, he's being bad. This is like, this is an abomination. It's like, you don't think the presidency should matter. Why the fuck do you care that this idiot's doing it? It looks better this way. The fucking reality TV show guy is doing it. Don't like what you're surprised that the regular people that America elected this guy, and then how I don't understand how. Now again, I did bet against him winning, but that's because I thought they had the thing fixed. If I was betting off of like the actual voting, Daniel would not have stolen all that money from me because gambling is a sin, and that's going to be my next tweet.
Call 1-800. I have gambling problems if you gamble too much.
All right, guys, we are right about at an hour.
Damn,
and
I have more tweets to share.
All right, well, here's your chance because you got advice of the week, so you can fit in one more comment about some tweet or whatever. What you got for us, Zach? This is your last chance.
I have 2 tweets. One
all right.
is by Marco Strang. He gave I'm not a huge fan of TED Talks overall, but he gave a decent TED Talk on Bitcoin mining. He's the founder of Genesis Mining. Pretty interesting talk if you want to check it out. And then my second is a question, which I'll just leave open-ended for my advice of the week. Russia is inviting miners to come use land by an old nuclear power plant if you are a miner that is no longer able to operate in China. So if you're a Chinese miner or any miner, would you go mine again by an abandoned Russian nuclear power plant? That's all I've got.
All right. So that's what we got from Zach. Tim, time for advice of the week, thought of the week, proverb of the week.
First off, fuck Twitter. It probably isn't good for you. Even sitting on the can, it's sapping your mind away. And I'll steal the screen share, maybe. There we go. And then this fucking idiot is possibly facing market abuse reports. Jamie Demon, which is Jesus, how did you come up with a worse name for fucking guy who works in a suit? That does not inspire power at all. But yeah. So you didn't already say that, did you?
No, we did. We did a whole tweet about it.
God damn it. I wasn't paying attention for a second. I'm sorry. I was out of it. But again, I want to bring back to this that, yeah, Jamie Demon, I hope you go to jail. You probably won't. We'll stop screen sharing. Daniel ruined the show for a little bit. I decided to do it at the end, so fuck you.
My advice, guys, is I'll drop back once again to apologize for last week. I'm sorry the show sucked so bad and had the worst co-hosts ever. But yeah, so don't let that show reflect on the actual you, me, and BTC podcast, because it's way better than that. No, they did great. They did great. I have been Daniel Brown, and I have been here with
Tim Baker. Ian Freeman's a socialist.
Zach Vol, buy Bitcoin Cash because Bitcoin Classic is going in the shitter. I'm just
hashtag yes 2x.
Hashtag yes 2x. Hashtag maybe 2x. Hashtag I don't know 2x.
I got to listen to the end of Free Talk Live tonight once they put out the podcast, because my heart starts thumping as soon as I go, nationwide live and all that. The fact is they have more listeners than us, so my heart starts pounding. So I don't even know what I said to them.
all of their listeners should listen to us. Like, who are they? You mean BTC is where you want to be? So just
they're a bunch of socialists. You don't want to listen to them about your Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Yeah. What
What's your advice here?
What do socialists know about Bitcoin?
Well, they do actually. Well, we don't got to get into it, and they're healthily ambiguous, just like we are on this show. We're always like, yeah, you never know, and they do that too. But at the same time, they support Bitcoin Cash quite a bit more than we do. And they'll say, like, well, you never know which one's going to win, but hey, maybe Bitcoin Cash is this new great. Maybe it's the original Satoshi vision. They support it a good bit more than we do. So, yeah, maybe you're right, Tim. Maybe they are socialists. All right, guys,
Obviously.
We are over an hour. So we will catch you next Thursday. In the meantime, the place to be is you, me, and BTC.com. Shoot.
Bye, guys.
You, me, and BTC.com. We'll catch you later. I apologize for the horrible music you're listening to right now on the podcast version. Gosh, we got to get John back Thursday.